shocking statistics in the Daily Telegraph over the weekend that underpin the challenges that our security agencies face in monitoring potential terrorists. There are currently 230 would-be terrorists living amongst us in Australia in a whole lot of de-radicalisation programs. Now, that number doesn't even include those who refuse to join these programs or those who are deemed unsuitable. Just as alarming, 1 in 3 of these extremists in these programs are under the age of 18. Joining me now to discuss this, former Australian Federal Police Detective Superintendent David Craig. David, welcome. I had some idea of the numbers, but I didn't realise they'd got over 200 to the scale of 230. But you and I both know, and help my viewers understand, there is no way our intelligence agencies can surveil these people 24/7. So realistically, what does monitoring them look like?
There's a couple of things here, Peter. Look, Happy New Year to you and your viewers, and thank you for having me back on. This is clearly a very serious thing we need to talk about. First of all, without talking about any accurate capacity, it's quite safe to say that ASIO and the AFP combined would not have enough to surveil 230 terrorists in Australia. That's simply just not feasible on a 24/7 basis. What I would say, though, is that these figures must be much higher. Statistically, they must be higher, but not just Islamic radicalism, but ideological violence, white supremacists, etc. The statistics are higher than this. So if we only had 230 terrorists in Australia, then that would actually be a good day, Peter. We need to front this straight up and know what we're actually dealing with here.
All right, and how concerned are you about the number of them that are under the age of 18 and obviously the spread of a lot of this radicalisation in the online environment?
Strangely enough, Peter, that's actually one of the positive points is now de-radicalisation programs, I'm not a big supporter of them. They don't really de-radicalise anyone from their ideology. They can disengage people from violent or criminal behaviour at best. I'm not sure that having such a young demographic is such a negative thing. De-radicalisation programs have been more successful with younger people in disengaging them, not changing their ideology, but disengaging them from violent behaviour. So if we can get in early enough with these people, then we can get them to step back from their actual criminal actions, and that would be successful as far as these programs go. I think that this is just more of the online trend that we've seen over the last few years. And that provides an eye-opener for the government to intercede online with these de-radicalisation thoughts, rather than these people living in this echo chamber of hate, which they do online.
David, when I was in Britain, I got a briefing in relation to the House of Lords report about the success or otherwise of these de-rad programs, and they were pretty scathing in terms of their value. I mean, is there anything new out there now to say that they're better than they were?
No, there's not, Peter. I think the name is a misnomer anyway. De-radicalisation, they don't actually do that. There's very few successful cases. There are statistics that say, well, there's a lower percentage of people that have participated in these programs going on to commit a terrorist act, but realistically, they are largely unsuccessful. And I don't think that they're a fair measure of the amount of terrorists we have in Australia.
I want to get a comment from you in relation to Hizb ut-Tahrir. There's been a lot of debate about this today, the attempts by the government with the support of the parliament to be able to outlaw Hizb ut-Tahrir in Australia. We know it's outlawed in countries like the United Kingdom. I note that there's a number of Islamic bodies and imams, including the Australian Federation of Islamic Councils, coming out and arguing for the retention of Hizb ut-Tahrir as a legitimate organisation. I mean, this is crazy to me.
I would have liked to have thought or seen that the Islamic leadership of this country was distancing itself from such a radicalising group. We talk about de-radicalising program. Well, they are a radicalising program. They've been very careful in Australia to advocate not to advocate violence and to keep a step away from any criminal activity or advocating. They've learnt from what happened in the UK, Peter. They tried to ban, the UK government tried to ban Hizb ut-Tahrir in the UK for many years, following the bombings, the 7/7 bombings, the rail bombings, etc. It was only when they celebrated the October 7 attacks that the UK government had the imprimatur to actually say they are advocating for terror, and they were then actually 2 years ago today, on the 19th of January 2024, they were prescribed. Why should we let it go that far here? We need to be all over these people. They are espousing hate and they've learnt from the UK. We need to get all our intelligence together, get ASIO to assess who said what after the Bondi massacre, because I'll be very surprised if there weren't radical Islamic people involved with Hizb ut-Tahrir that weren't celebrating that attack.
Sound words, sound advice. I hope they're listening to you in Canberra. Thank you, David Craig.